Next headline now, rate hike rage, a lot of noise, says RBA. Reserve Bank Governor Michele Bullock has labelled the furore over rapid-fire interest rate hikes a lot of political nonsense and a lot of noise from the general public, end quote, telling an international conference that Australian households are, quote, actually in a pretty good position, end quote. Oh, well, that's really interesting given our poll just showed that 66% of Australians reckon they're in a worse position, particularly under this particular government. Where is she getting her data from?
Well, I think she's getting her data from her own pay packet. That she's doing well, so she assumes everyone else must be doing well. As the Deputy Governor, she was earning just over $800,000 last year, and that was a 12% increase on the year before. And now, as Governor of the Reserve Bank, if you include superannuation, she'd be on over $1 million a year. And so, of course, she says Australians are doing pretty well.
I don't know what these people are talking about. It's quite a smooth ride.
Is it any wonder we end up in the positions we do when the people making the decisions have no understanding of what everyone else is going through? We'll move on to the Canberra Times now, where it says Foster takes top job. We all know about Mike Pizzullo, poor old fella got the arse. Stephanie Foster will take over as Secretary of the Department of Home Affairs, and what a job to walk into at this particular point in time, it should be noted, succeeding Mike Pizzullo, whose near decade-long stint in the job ended abruptly on Monday. Now, you might think, oh, it's a very Canberra sort of story, but this woman is a former spy who gets around in a red convertible Porsche, as you can just see. Let's get that back up on the screen there. She gets around in this red convertible Porsche, but if you look very closely at it, and you might have to move yourself closer to the television, it's all scratched up down the side. What on earth are you doing driving around in a red Porsche that's all dinged up? Is she trying to give the impression that, she's
an
one of us?
man.
Like, come on.
You've got
a Porsche. Surely you can polish the thing up a bit.
Let's look at the front page of tomorrow's Daily Telegraph. Exclusive. Here's the headline. Live where you work. Push to save homes just for frontline staff. Unions and developers have joined forces to push for urgent reforms that would give the likes of nurses and AMBOs a fighting chance of being able to live in Sydney. Now, you'll have to get the paper tomorrow to find out how this is going to work.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine how they do a situation where if you're a nurse or an ambulance driver, you get first dibs at, a rental accommodation or something?
Are they going to subsidise the rent? Because if they're talking about Sydney CBD or just inner city suburbs, that's a lot of money. In fact, I do wonder how someone on a nurse's wage, the average nurse's wage, would be able to afford to live there.
Well, they're saying where you work, so I suppose it would depend. If you lived in Wangaratta, and Wangaratta's not in New South Wales, but let's say you live in Parks, and that's where you're a nurse. Well, then they're going to find you a house in Parks as well. It's a big government system to set up, I reckon. And quickly before we go to a break, on the front of the Gold Coast Bulletin tomorrow, they got a photo of this bloke, Post Malone. He's a rapper. But apparently he's turned up to his gig on the Gold Coast in his pyjamas, and the bloke, as you can see there, has face tattoos. He looks like a deadbeat. It's like he's slept on the street all night and he just wandered in for his gig.
I want to know who gave him the sunflowers.